For keeping it. Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for always making it a plot with us every single day from Monday to Friday. We are here for you, and we appreciate that you support our programs by watching them, by streaming them live. So we say again, thank you. And today being Thursday, it is a day when we like to throw back to many different events that have happened in our lives and of course in our country. And I'm curious to know what my friends are throwing back to this morning, but before that I'd like to check in on them. Chantal Olive is back and feeling much better. Good morning, Chantal.
Good morning, Olive.
How are you today?
I am a lot better, and I'm glad to be back. And yeah, thank you for your prayers. Yeah.
We are glad that you're back. We really missed you, and now that you're here, I'm sure JP Live is a happy man, right, JP? Good morning.
Because Chirabo was actually here making fun of me this morning in relation to not Chirabo, one of our producers here, who was actually saying that it does seem like I may be a good doctor.
Wow.
But it depends on which particular doctor he was meaning.
It is still very early morning.
Shall we first avoid certain terms and
because medical workers might go on strike. But anyway, how is your morning, Jerome Paul?
My morning is okay. This week is a good one, by the way.
No wonder you dress like you're going to a dinner date.
Everyone has actually been saying the same.
except for one of the producers
who mentioned that I'm dressed like an apostle or a
an
pastor.
upcoming pastor.
So anyway,
like the one of Marito Blitz.
Marito Blitz. But anyways, good morning, Ugandans. Many thanks for always waking up with us, and to all the viewers out there who make it a deal to watch UBC Good Morning Uganda. We appreciate you, and we are here to make sure that we inspire your mornings as usual. I'm Joram Paul Sonko, and I'm here.
Well, Joram Paul Sonko, the man dressed like he's going to get a bride. Anyway, good morning, Chirabo Robert.
I love the morning to you, lady in green top.
Oh, thank you.
How are your viewers? I hope you're doing fine. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now, many looked at Sonko in different ways.
Did you just call it Good Morning Uganda Agenda?
But I look at Sonko, you know Apostle Grace Lubega?
Yes.
Sonko is a man who can smell money. Of late I've learned to know. And when I see him dressed like this, I see him trying to look like the man of God. He's starting very soon, you will see. But please, I want to warn our viewers, do not dare to follow Sonko. There will be an anointing.
Robert,
You just gave a compliment and then you watered it down.
He's attacking while defending.
Many people are calling themselves, but it's not the Lord calling them to ministry.
So they are pastors.
You know, you have to have a
By
call.
default.
That's be a calling from the Lord through the Holy Spirit, but now people are calling themselves and saying they're servants of God.
Oh God.
And if you follow those that are calling themselves, they have come to make money strictly. You end up buying
So
anointed
you're telling
rice,
them to stay away from
anointed
Sonko.
no, I don't think Sonko would actually do something like that in terms of church and all.
So you just want to be the finance administrator of the ministry.
Oh, well, it doesn't hurt.
As long as it's paying.
Anyway, we are hoping that your morning is off to a great start, but it wasn't the same for a school. Yesterday, St. Teresa Primary School, Chisubi, had a fire breakout in the primary 4 dormitory. Fortunately, there were no lives lost, but all the property for the pupils were lost. And this is quite concerning because it is coming just a few weeks after a school fire broke out at Kisubi Girls Primary School in Kamuli district. Now, third term is short, and these fires are breaking out. For now, for what happened at St. Teresa, the police has not yet told us what could have caused the fire. An investigation is ongoing as we speak, and school management is trying to, make sure that they go back to normalcy. But there is a wider conversation here about school fires, and I think last week or the other week, we still had a conversation regarding the same, only to be shocked with another fire. Now, I'm wondering from the team, what do you think is going on? Why are these school fires going on and on from different districts and different areas around our country?
Well, first, according to police, not for the fire that happened yesterday, but according to the police report, majority of the fires were a result of arson. Now, arson, it means someone deliberately set the dormitory on fire. Lucky for yesterday, all the pupils were attending class.
Yes.
And I want to commend that school because I believe if there was anyone sick, they have a sick bay and they weren't in the dormitory. Otherwise, they have perished in that fire. So we have arson, and arson has a lot of things. For example, poor administration, people are sacked anyhow. Sometimes unruly, poor, not well brought up students, maybe they are expelled from a school, then they come and they do that. Others, they are the workers, but also I think there is a laxity when it comes to some of the guidelines that were put in place by the Ministry of Education and Sports to combat school fires. For example, the security. You have to have a perimeter wall, a gate. There has to be a person who is guarding the school even during the day. So those are some of the things. Why shouldn't the ministry make it, at least for average schools, that every school must have cameras, CCTV cameras? You know?
So that's when investigations
when these
start,
things happen, we have where to start from.
Yeah.
If it is arson, who came in? If these cameras are no longer that very expensive.
But there
install.
have also been cases, and police has also noted this, that sometimes a school has cameras, but they realize that right before the fire broke out, the cameras were not working.
Then that is also another issue. But then also if had dormitories catch fire, you know, Ministry of Education recommended lightning conductors. You know those things that they put on top of the roof?
Yes.
That every classroom, every dormitory must have those lightning conductors, because in a season like this when we have rains,
Yes.
lightning can spark off fire.
That's
Remember
true.
some of these dormitories, even the wiring, and so in case of lightning, and I'm told, though not yet confirmed
yes.
by
Yesterday's
police,
fire.
that this fire could have been a result of lightning.
Lightning, yes.
I say not confirmed by police. So if dormitories, if classrooms don't have lightning conductors, this is something that the Ministry of Education should embrace and enforce.
Also, there is something I noticed, and I stand to be corrected, but it looked like the school didn't have fire extinguishers, because in the video you can see that before the police came in, there wasn't any effort to try and curb the fire.
That is something maybe we can't really confirm by
but
now.
the bigger conversation here is, are the schools having the fire extinguishers that are supposed to be in place? Because it is one of the measures that was set to curb the school fires. So in the event that the school didn't have a fire extinguisher or fire extinguishers, that's why I said I stand to be corrected. If they did have them and they didn't use them, that is also a story for another day. But that being said, school owners, administrators, you are charged with safeguarding the safety of all the children that are in your hands. So make sure that you have the measures that have been given by the government put in place, because you are saving the lives of our children, and also you are safeguarding your property. Because now imagine in this school, they will have to reconstruct everything, and of course the parents now have to suffer the brunt of buying everything that has been lost in the fire. And it is that term. The term is ending by the end of November, and now you have to reshop everything, and then the trauma the children go through. We really need to do better. But that being said, this is the moment where we give you the local news stories.
Well, and I'll begin with some good news in Luwero, where the market vendors were given some money by His Excellency. Now, President Museveni extended financial support to a tune of 524 market vendors in Bombo, Luwero district. The business booster package was delivered to the market vendors by officials from State House led by Miss Flora Kabibi. The 524 beneficiaries, who apparently operate from the roadside markets of Bombo, Mile 20 and Nanywa, and mainly sell fruits, vegetables, among other foodstuffs. Each vendor received 100,000. Ms. Kabibi informed the vendors that President Museveni decided to extend this for their businesses so that they can be able to stabilize their incomes.
Moving on, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees has asked the government of Uganda to review the current refugee hosting model and support the localization agenda. These meetings are being held as Uganda prepares to convene the 2023 Global Refugee Forum together with France, Colombia, Japan, Jordan, Niger, and the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. United Nations High Commission for Refugees Country Representative Matthew Crenstill says that there is a need to integrate the refugee resettlements into local government structures for sustainability purposes.
And moving on, the Katikkiro of Uganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, affirmed the importance of leaders at all levels coming together to discuss matters affecting their communities. He made this statement during a meeting with the NRM Secretary General, Richard Todrong, at Burange Mengo, where he addressed recent discussions involving the President and Uganda Queen Sylvia Najinda.
And lastly, on the local scene, Entebbe Police has initiated an investigation into a fire that consumed a dormitory for primary 4 students at St. Teresa Girls Primary School, Chisubi, resulting in significant property damage worth millions of shillings. According to Luke Owesigire, the deputy police spokesperson for the Kampala metropolitan area, no students were injured during the incident. He also assured parents that the school management is actively working to restore normalcy. And now we cross over to the international news.
Internationally, Mike Johnson has been elected Speaker of the House of Representatives, ending weeks of chaos and Republican infighting on Capitol Hill. The conservative Louisiana lawmaker won the 220 votes in the lower chamber of Congress. Mr. Johnson is the 4th Republican nominated for the position since Kevin McCarthy's ouster on 3rd October. The previous nominee, Minnesota's Tom Emmer, abruptly dropped out of the race on Tuesday after about 4 hours. Mr. Johnson's success is the hard-fought Speaker battle represents Mr. Johnson's success in the hard-fought Speaker battle represents a victory for the ideologically right-wing, Trump-aligned faction of the Republican Party and a loss for its moderates, whose candidates struggled to gain traction among conservative representatives on Capitol Hill. Away from that, more than 114 million people are estimated to be displaced worldwide, a record number that speaks to the international community's failure to solve conflicts, the United Nations has said. The number of people displaced by war, persecution, violence, and human rights violations globally is likely to have exceeded 114 million at the end of September, UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, said on Wednesday, marking an increase of 5.6 million from the end of last year. The tally is the highest ever recorded by the agency since it began registering data in 1975. UNHCR noted that in the first half of 2023, the main causes of displacement were conflicts in Ukraine, Sudan, Myanmar, and Democratic Republic of Congo, humanitarian strife in Afghanistan, and natural disasters and instability in Somalia. Those newly displaced by mid-2023 included 11 million Ukrainians forced to flee the war with Russia and 3 million Sudanese caught in the crosshairs of a civil conflict, pitting the Sudanese army against the paramilitary rapid support forces. Away from that, the head of a top Nigerian cancer clinic has been sentenced to life imprisonment for raping his wife's teenage niece. Dr. Olufemi Olaleya sexually assaulted the girl for more than a year until his wife found out and informed the police. This is according to the prosecutor. The doctor had pleaded not guilty during the trial. but a judge in a Lagos court said he found the evidence against the doctor compelling and rejected his plea. Olaleye is the head of the Optimal Cancer Care Foundation, which offers free breast and cervical cancer screening for women. He was arraigned in November last year on 2 counts of rape between 2019 December and July 2022, when a girl went to live with their family. During the trial, the doctor's wife, Aderemi Olaleye, said she discovered the abuse after the girl told her aunt and the family's driver. And speaking matters climate, more than 200 medical journals are calling on the World Health Organization to deem 2 overlapping environmental crises, climate change and biodiversity loss, as a global health emergency, while warning of the potential for catastrophic harm to human health. In the coordinated editorial published on Wednesday, a team of authors outlined the dire impacts linked to rising temperatures, extreme weather events, and the loss of wildlife. The World Health-related environmental challenges are now severe, the group wrote, from the spread of infectious diseases to the rise of waterborne infections to the health impacts of air pollution. Changes in land use, for instance, have forced tens of thousands of species into closer contact, increasing the exchange of pathogens and fueling the emergence of new diseases. That is it for what is happening on the international scene and climate news.
Thank you for keeping with us on Good Morning Uganda. Now, this is the moment when Jerome Paul Sonko takes us through the press review.
And starting with the press review, the Daily Monitor here in Uganda does highlight marks for sale at universities. There is a big report in relation to how universities are operating in the country. Then you can as well read about relationships, the simplicity. That does it for the Echimas. You can actually read more about the same. Now, school head and teachers held over UNEB exams. More of examination malpractice happening in the country. Read about the same with the Daily Monitor. Now, the Daily Monitor also highlights that the U.S. envoy reveals that they will work with Uganda to fight terrorism. More of the report in the Daily Monitor. Jinja is set to rename road after Henry Chamber. Which road is that one? The Daily Monitor gives you more detail. Now, Cabinet discusses killing of tourists. As in the other news, why civilians disarmed beat up UPDF soldier in the Kayunga land row. That was a video that was trending all over social media. Now, still with our local dailies, the New Vision, with the headline, Magara's mother gives details of kidnappers. Still more of that same case. Now, business as usual at Queen Elizabeth National Park, Kasese. There's a pictorial showing tourists touring the park as well. And then also night robbers displaced over 600 families according to a report. Besides that, government not Buganda's enemy, says Todwong. Read about the same in the New Vision today. Also, the First Lady commissions new facilities at the Salama School for the Blind. That and more in the New Vision later on. As we move forward in the show, we shall as well be looking at the top stories making headlines across the East African region.
All right. Well, too much happening in and around the country, and of course we had some stories coming through on the international scene. This is the moment place and time and program where we give you different details regarding many issues across the world. And of course, we normally do this every Monday to Friday every week. So keep it with us every single day from 6:30 to 9 a.m. And of course, we will be taking a short break, and when we come back, we will have a conversation still during our newsreel and later on the agenda. But on the newsreel, we will be talking matters security.
is Good Morning Uganda.
That's right. This is Good Morning Uganda. Welcome to the show that starts your day. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am, of course, as usual, joined by Jerome Paul Sonko, Chantal Oliver Kaninda, and Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. And we hope that you are having a splendid morning. I know the day has just started. Some of you are just rolling out of bed, but whatever it is, thank you so much for keeping it Good Morning Uganda. Thank you so much for always making it a plot with us every single day from Monday to Friday. We are here for you, and we appreciate that you support our programs by watching them, by streaming them live. So we say again, thank you. And today being Thursday, it is a day when we like to throw back to many different events that have happened in our lives and of course in our country. And I'm curious to know what my friends are throwing back to this morning. But before that, I'd like to check in on them. Chantal Olive is back and feeling much better. Good morning, Chantal.
Good morning, Olive.
How are you today?
I am a lot better, and I'm glad to be back. And yeah, thank you for your prayers. Yeah.
We are glad that you're back. We really missed you, and now that you're here, I'm sure JP Live is a happy man, right, JP? Good morning.
Because Chirabo was actually here making fun of me this morning in relation to not Chirabo, one of our producers here, who was actually saying that it does seem like I may be a good doctor.
Wow.
But it depends on which particular doctor he was meaning.
It is still very early morning.
Shall we first avoid certain terms and...
because medical workers might go on strike. But anyway, how is your morning, Jerome Paul?
My morning is okay. This week is a good one, by the way.
No wonder you dress like you're going to a dinner date.
Everyone has actually been saying the same.
Except for one of the producers.
Who mentioned that I'm dressed like an apostle or a
an
pastor.
upcoming pastor.
So anyway,
Like the one of marital
marital bliss. But anyways, good morning, Ugandans. Many thanks for always waking up with us, and to all the viewers out there who make it a deal to watch UBC Good Morning Uganda. We appreciate you, and we are here to make sure that we inspire your mornings as usual. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko, and I'm here.
Well, Jerome Paul Sonko, the man dressed like he's going to get a bride. Anyway, good morning, Chirabo Robert.
I love the morning to you, lady in green top.
Oh, thank you.
How are your viewers? I hope you're doing fine. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now, many looked at Sonko in different ways. Did you just call it
Good Morning Uganda Agenda?
But I look at Sonko, you know Apostle Grace Lubega?
Yes.
Sonko is a man who can smell money. Of late I've learned to know. And when I see him dressed like this, I see him trying to look like the man of God. He's starting very soon, you will see. But please, I want to warn our viewers, do not dare to follow Sonko. There will be an anointing.
But
You just gave a compliment and then you watered it down.
He's attacking while defending.
Many people are calling them
*165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
I'm called Ezekiel Wanjikate. We are staying in Busala village, that is in Luka district. This is a commercial agriculture farm purely run on a family basis. We are now concentrating on coffee, and we got that coffee in 2018 from Wealth Operation Wealth Creation. NADS gave us the solar water pump, which we are currently using to put up irrigation on the farm and be able to irrigate the coffee, which is sitting on a 30-acre area. What we're able to reap out of the coffee, we're able to sell it off and make an expansion, because with irrigation you can't go wrong, but be able to pick all around the whole year. and that's all income that will be coming in. On a special thanks goes to Operation Wealth Creation, to the district local government in Luka district that has also given us the support to supervise all the work that we have been doing. And finally, NADS that gave us the solar water pump.
Uncle, you should see London.
Oh, my boy. This has been 5 years. You should see Uganda.
Yes. Uncle Marcus, huh? This is my former school.
Soon, there will be more than 1 million children learning like this for free.
Thank you, Uganda, for imagining it with us and making us the fastest growing telecom in the country over the past 5 years.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back to Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica Najuma here with Chantal Olive Akaninda and Jerome Paul Sonko. Now this morning we would like to tackle the issue of security. Now the public has been warned to be vigilant amid the rise in cases of gangs on motorcycles who attack unsuspecting pedestrians and rob them of their property in several parts of Kampala metropolitan area. And Kampala Metropolitan Police Deputy Spokesperson Luke Oweyesigire said they have registered a rise in cases of muggings, especially in Kawempe Division, Kampala City. Now, today we have decided to even take it further and look at the entire security around the areas of Kampala Metropolitan or urban centers and of course even suburbs. There has been a message that has been making rounds on WhatsApp platforms where people have been being advised to be vigilant as regards their security, whether at home or driving in the night or moving at night. And it seems like many areas are really unsafe when it comes to security. There are many gangs and thugs. The other day, actually yesterday, Robert was telling us about 2 thieves that rammed into him when he was on his way to work, only for him to realize that the border that they were riding on had been stolen. So that and more cases are going on in our city and our cities, but would like to lit the torch mainly on Kampala Metropolitan. We've had cases of gangs attacking people on the northern bypass. We've had cases of people thugs throwing eggs at drivers so that they blur their view, and when you stop, they attack you. We've had many of these cases. We've had cases of people. There was a case on Semto Road where people pretended to have their car, that their car had broken down only for this other vehicle, oncoming vehicle, to stop to help, and they were attacked. These are reports that have been made by our own police force. So it shows that when it comes to security and individual security in our homes or on the roads or within the city, we really need to be vigilant. And this is what we are looking at today. But first of all, we would like to know, and I think the viewer out there would like to know, why is it that there is an increase in the rate of crime and theft when it comes to the Kampala Metropolitan?
There is a high level of poverty in the country currently. That is why we're having all these cases. I think even yesterday we did mention something about how Ugandans tend to focus on, taking, or let's say those who are unfortunate not to be able to succeed earlier than the rest, tend to actually go on to hunt down the hard-earned money or the hard-earned earnings of the others. So I think poverty is doing a very huge role in these particular cases, because when you look at the people who are either being mugged or being beaten up during night hours or even during morning hours as people are actually going to work, or even the cases that we're actually seeing of people whose phones actually snatched in traffic jam, it takes you back to the snatcher or the thief himself, who is either suffering financially, and the only way to bail himself out because of lack of employment at the time is to either steal, and after stealing he goes on to sell. Because most of the times when you look at these particular goods that are being stolen, people either way steal them. The majority are stealing to sell them off to second-hand dealers out there at a very, very less fee. So poverty is one of those reasons. And then there is what you could call moral decay, I would say, because morally theft is not something that is acceptable in society. That is why if a thief is actually caught, they are beaten seriously or terribly. So the issue to do with the moral part of it, but I think poverty is playing a very serious role in this particular situation, because when you look at the thieves, most of them do not live a happy life in one way or the other, and it's circumstances that end up pushing certain people to doing things they never thought of doing. So you find someone who is actually living with a wealthy neighbor, and in his mind is like, how come that person has more than I don't have? And in such scenarios, they start taking things without being given permission. And in situations whereby you start taking something away from its original owner without permission or without being given to you, then it is ideally theft. So these are the cases that we're actually seeing. And also when you look at it from the angle of the insecurities that we have in the country, it is more so in the urban settings. We do have a huge population in the urban areas. There is a huge kind of settlement whereby the Kampala suburbs, that are quite many, where we have lots of apartments in the same area. We have, you know, let's say a mixture of uptown plus the ghetto. Now, in most areas, certain incidents that do occur is because of the fact that there's a lot of people are overpopulated in an area, and it's very difficult to identify who the criminals are at the time. So it gives them free will to continue doing this and move away from it. So if you're to take an example of areas, let's say in Kampala, for example, for people who stay in Chireka, Banda, Boyogerere, name it. I'm talking about that because that is a locality that I am now attached to currently. When you look at people who are staying in there, or for the people who are in Chitende, Kajansi, Rweza, there is a settlement catch which clearly shows you people are more settled in given spaces. So this gives room for any thief out there to steal and be able to, you know, to run away without anyone finding out where they are. So from the poverty part of it, and then also looking at the moral decency or moral decay in society, as well as the overpopulation in most of these areas, it is actually greatly contributing to some of these areas of theft, and rather these cases of theft, and why we're actually seeing a huge rise of theft, and of course even beatings, because now it is no longer someone stealing off something from you, but it's now back to someone beating you, stealing you, and leaving you really what I could actually say really damaged. And in most cases, most people actually, there are some few cases where people actually left dead in such scenarios. But to my own understanding, or in my own view, I think the bigger case now is the lack of money to meet certain standards, and you have to force your way through it.
And now, given that 70% of Ugandans are youth, and of course also coupled that with the high rate of unemployment in the country. Universities are churning out students every other month. We have many universities today. So there is a graduation happening everywhere, pretty much every other month.
Even
and of
today
course we have higher other higher institutions of learning like vocational schools, and all of these people are supposed to come and join the job market, but there are no jobs in the market. So what happens when the youth are not being employed?
And that's when now they resort to things like those. You know, Sonko mentioned poverty as the primary factor that is leading to all these things happening. And of course, when you talk about poverty, this is when you talk about things like unemployment. But also I'd like to explore things like mental illness. I'd like to explore things like alcoholism. I'd like to explore things like family, I don't know how to put it, but family disruptions, or I'm looking for the best word to use, but to mean that there is a lot that is not being done in the families, hence leading to a breed of people out there or youth out there who find it very easy to go on the streets and start snatching or taking things that do not belong to them. Then of course talk about selfishness and greed. Whether we like it or not, some of these people that actually carry out these activities are just selfish and greedy people. I don't know if you people can relate, but in school, didn't you ever find this kid who is from a well-to-do family or a family that can afford to give them everything they need, but this kid is a thief? You've heard of those scenarios. Yes. So we do have people who are just selfish and greedy and are out there to just take and take and take. So in this case, when you look at the available reasons as to why you know, theft is prevailing, I would also take it back down to the fact that it is prevailing because, in my own opinion, the primary reason is because we have not put anything in place to curb the theft.
I think, really? When you say we've not put anything in place, aren't you, in a way, for lack of a better word, addressing the security of this nation, like they're not doing anything?
Oh no, I don't mean we're not doing. I don't mean they're not doing anything. But what I'm trying to say is it's not enough, not even close to enough. Because if I put a measure in place and instead of having the crime reduce, it's just increasing, then I guess I need to revisit my efforts and revisit my methods and revisit my options for me to be able to achieve results. I mean, if you're telling me that we have street cameras, but the street cameras only stop somewhere and they cannot even help you get the person. If you are telling me that when I go to police, I've had that experience, you go to police and the most police is going to say, you people need to be careful. These days they're snatching phones everywhere.
And we know those people.
Thank you.
You've heard of cases where people go to the. My boss somewhere else once said he lost his laptop at Shell Golobi, so he goes to police, and the response he was given was, "Oh, we know those people in that area. They steal, so you need to be careful."
Exactly. So how do you tell me that telling me to be careful is the remedy that is going to help me? I'm not disputing the fact that even us as individuals, we have to protect our property. The question is, where I've not been able to, say for example, I have been attacked, how have you helped me? You've had people say if they steal your phone, don't bother using police to track it. Because the cases where people have found their phones and where they've not found them, when you compare the two, those who have not got their phones and wasted their money and time are very many.
But also those that have gotten their phones are there. I think, don't you think that to a degree there is just bias? That if I go to police, I will not be helped, so people don't even bother to go. Let
police change the narrative and surprise Ugandans who go to report, because the truth is, the biggest percentage of the times you walk into a police station and have a complaint, the same feeling of will I even get help will be fully justified by the time you walk out of that place. It's very, I'm saying this on live television, it's very few police officers, not even stations, officers that are actually, are passionate about this and will follow up and will give you the attention you need for you to get results when you go and file a police complaint.
And you know, the easiest example is also the phone snatchers in the capital. Many investigations have been done by some of the investigative journalists here in Uganda. You'll get to realize that they are the faces that indulge in these cases of phone snatching in Kampala or in the CBD are the same. And when you ask or interact with some of the Ugandans who are working downtown, they will tell you someone will be arrested in the morning and he will actually be left to loiter later on in the evening. Imagine you've reported a case of someone who has stolen your bag which has money, or it has some sensitive information of yours, and then the following day you find out that that same person is still on the road doing the exact thing they were actually accused of doing the following the previous day. So these are cases that we've actually seen rising rather, simply because of let's say we no longer really care or pay a lot of attention to some of the situations, because even when you look at some of the footage that is being released by the cameras in the CBD about how these phone snatchers work, or about how people who actually, you know, grab women's bags in the capital or in the CBD, most of them are either a group of 5-6 men who are working hand in hand with them, and it's also alleged that some of them are actually working with some of the police officers in downtown. So that is why, even though you go and report, or even though he's arrested today, the next day he's going to be released. So that means Ugandans tend to actually lose confidence in the police. And that is why in most cases we see mob justice rising as well in some of the areas, whereby after a thief has been caught, you'll see individuals or society itself deciding to punish them. This is where we see car tires being burnt, thieves being burnt down, being beaten seriously, and others actually you know, being killed by the mob, simply because people are really tired. And we've mentioned about how frustrating it can get when someone steals something from you, mostly if you've actually worked hard for it. Someone breaking into your house or someone stealing your phone. I think we've all had some trauma in relation to, I have not had my phone snatched, but I've actually experienced a situation whereby someone's phone was snatched in my presence. So you can easily see how tormented, or how tormented that person was, and how tormenting the entire experience is for anyone experiencing such a thing.
Olive gave me a few months ago, she gave me the best description of that feeling, because personally I couldn't attach a name. She's like, it's a feeling, it feels as if you've been violated.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes, and I can assure you that's the feeling. That is why people who get a chance to exercise mob justice, you realize they do it with a lot of anger and a lot of bitterness, because the feeling you get, it's a feeling of, I mean, they've snatched something from you. You've been violated, like something of yours has been taken. So you're going to be very bitter. You just want this person literally dead. Now, when we go back to the very same conversation, I'm still going to say this. How often do we, okay, what system is in place when it comes to, if you are caught, you are stealing, are you going to just be put in prison and then you serve for, some serve for like a month or 3 and then they get out? That does not give us solutions. It does not.
But before we even go to the solutions, yes, you mentioned some of the causes of this, the increase in the rate of crime in Kampala metropolitan and even in cities elsewhere. But we also need to pay attention to things like urbanization. Because rapid urbanization, where are these youth that are wreaking havoc on people's property and safety coming from? You're going to realize that if you're working, for instance, when you look at the police report, they say that the areas where it is very likely for you to be mugged, areas like Kafumbe Mkasa Road, areas like Northern Bypass and Kawempe Division. What do these areas have in common?
Overpopulation.
And rapid
you know,
urbanization.
when you look at the rapid urbanization, why I don't oversay the rapid urbanization is because it does seem like it is in a collection of areas. You will not hear lots of cases in areas like Muyenga.
Because do you have slums in Muyenga?
No, we do have. Close by Bukasa.
Yes.
downtown.
Close by, but not in Muyenga itself.
But when you look at the population levels there, are not as much as when you look at what is in Kawempe.
So
You
it
see,
means that
you know,
these people that come and settle in certain areas in urban centers come from a certain, for instance, if you mention Kawempe, that is on what? Gulu Road? Gulu
Yes.
Highway. Where do we have our settlement areas, refugee settlement areas? I'm not saying refugees are the gangs or the thugs, but all of these are contributing factors.
No, you know, when we talk about the rapid urbanization, at times it comes with security that is also employed in the same areas. Now, for why I use the Muyenga areas, let's say look at Entebbe Road, for example. There's a certain unit of organization. When people actually, when you look at the cases that normally happen in scenarios, you realize people in these settings are not stealing themselves. They're either stealing people who are passing by. So, and it also depends on the kind of community. Why I talk about the issue to do with overpopulation of that same area is because once an area is overpopulated, a thief can easily steal from you and you'll never see them. Because they also know there are too many people in this area. This is where we are seeing new faces coming in because of, you know, obviously because of the rapid urbanization like you've mentioned, and some of these houses or areas of settlement have cheaper accommodation rates. So once people are flooding in the same areas, and also when you look at the Kafumbe Mukasa, like you've mentioned, the road, all those areas, even in Kampala here, where phone snatchers are, they're normally rotating around areas that are overly populated by businesses.
Unfortunately, there has been a change in that trend. And when you speak to police, police tells you, you know, back then, you would only be extra careful with your bag and your property if you are in town. If you are Kampala Road, downtown, you have to hold your bag from here. You have to make sure your phone is really close. But right now, in the outskirts of town,
it is more terrible.
It is terrible. Police will tell you, these people, for example, the phone snatchers, and they no longer dwell so much in town. No. They're going to come to the outskirts of town, take something from you. They have particular shortcuts or routes that they use that you can't even get them.
And they work in pairs.
They work not just pairs, in groups, huge groups. And I mean, you've seen someone's phone being snatched and then someone crosses the road and gets a bike and they move. There's already a bike waiting for them. Yeah, you've seen people come close to this person. There are two people on a bike, snatch, you know, whatever someone has on the next bike, and they go. Different cases that we can name, but the outskirts of town have actually become more dangerous than town, according to police. And I mean, it takes us back down to, we have seen this. That's the problem statement. What is going to be the solution, since we now know where all these things are taking place?
I think even when you mentioned about the outskirts of the city where no one is watching, because I know some of these areas is because there is no one who's watching. Yeah, you look at the northern bypass, people who actually, there's that route of from Chiwatuli, a very terrible site, areas around there, very terrible. When you look at some people were actually also being robbed at traffic lights. Traffic lights.
Because you're in jam, you're seated, you can't even leave your car.
I've ever been in a taxi back in the day around ShopRite downtown, and this person was seated next to the window, and they were speaking on the phone, and someone snatched her phone, and we could actually see the guy running away, but we're in traffic jam, you know, the traffic jam
can't get
around
out,
Queen's,
just the person, yes.
Clock Tower. So you like really watch someone that has taken something from you, and then there are cases where you are not even in a taxi, but you're told, you know what, for your safety, you cannot run after them because, like Chantal said, they work in groups, and you never know who is going to attack you. Now, according to Uganda, according to reports, Uganda's crime rate and statistics for 2021 was 8.53, 15.06% decline from 2020. Uganda crime rate and statistics for 2020 was 10.04 and 8.57 decline from 2019. And of course, it goes on and on. But would like to have a look at the crime rate in Kampala, and it is broken down in it's broken down like this. Level of crime is at 60.99. And that means it is moderate, it is, that is high. And problem with people using or dealing drugs, that is at 40 to 40%. And then property crimes such as vandalism and theft is at 58%. And violent crimes such as assault and armed robbery are also at 58%. And corruption and bribery is at 91%. Very high. So anyway, looking at all that, and of course looking at the causes of the high crime rate in the country. Now we go back to what Chantal has been asking about. First of all, we'd like to know some of the measures that over time have been put in place to curb crime in cities, especially Kampala Metropolitan.
Well, first we have seen cameras that have been installed in some few areas, you know, as a way of not just curbing theft, but ensuring security and curbing crime in the country. That is one thing that we have seen over the years. Before
you continue, I will give props to that, because in the recent case of the murder of Maria Nagirinya and her driver Ronald Chitaimbwa, it is these street cameras that enabled police to actually arrest actually now they are not suspects because they were convicted. The leading suspects, 2 of them have been sentenced to life, but it all began by those street cameras capturing their images as one of them was driving Nagirinya's car to the to the crime scene where they killed them from. You are still saying?
I think, okay, I appreciate the step of, you asked
street cameras.
Yes, street cameras. And I will just leave it, I'll leave it at that, because what else have you seen that has been put in place that is new, that is different, that is supposed to provide solutions to
Away
Ugandans?
From the new, do we have others, the old ones that were put in place and maybe they're failing, but we need to know them? What has been put in place?
Arresting the criminals. That is by default setting. And this one has completely failed. Because when you arrest a criminal, like I've mentioned, even before we go to, because the reason that's why the police is in place is to enforce. And why I even target arresting criminals is most of the criminals, I don't want to say all, most of the criminals that are being arrested are never staying in for long. Most of them leave immediately they reach the police cells. Others leave a day after. Others only spend there 1 week. So this is something we really need to focus on, that if I report my case, I need to be confident enough that the thief that I've reported or that the criminal I've actually reported is going to be punished for the offense. Okay. But in most cases, this person is actually let free and they go on. You know, we've also had these cases whereby someone comes and steals from you. Then after you reporting them, after you found out who it was, they will go in police, or let's say you report them to police, they are arrested. After 2 days, he comes back hunting for you, and this time around he's not only stealing, but even beating you up for reporting them. So it is a continuous cycle. This is where I'm actually saying that regardless of the fact that at times we look at, you know, theft as something, theft is now something global, or let's say it's a society kind of scene that is already accepted, but how we are dealing with it is also showing a big sign of
police
weakness.
Says that you say they are out in 2 days, but police says, at least according to Luko Esjire, he says that they are normally sent on remand and they get bail after 6 months. Do we know this to be true or not?
You know, with the allegations that are coming up, and I'm sticking to allegations because allegations that are pretty much within the CBD, because this is where most of the, you know, for example, phone snatchers, women who lose bags, property and everything will come out and reveal. You've also seen cases whereby someone takes off your side mirror in the presence of authorities in traffic jam.
Well, traffic
You know,
police is there to deal with traffic. Are they
No,
there to
not
deal
traffic
with the
police.
thieves?
Not traffic police. I want to believe we all see police vehicles on the road these days. They are always there.
Yeah.
And someone will actually come and steal off your traffic light, or let's say your car headlamp. They run away, not even running away. They are too smart lately. Someone just takes it off, puts it in the bag, or just walks away. These are situations that are actually happening currently. And we're not actually also blaming, because the traffic police's mandate is not that, or to focus on anything, but we are seeing police officers who are deployed on the road. So with the current situation that is actually going, is that our society has ideally accepted that there are thieves in society, and that is why you're seeing mob justice taking charge, because at times people feel there is nothing police is going to do.
Well, police says that these thieves work in gangs, so it is not a one-man army, it is a gang. And according to police, even when they are arrested and sent on remand for 6 months, like Owesigire put it, their accomplices are still outside working. So they take off a certain number of them, because right now the police is trying to arrest about 100 gang members that are, you know, wreaking havoc on people in cities and or in the city and in the suburbs, but they have a huge group. So you're going to take away probably 80 of them, but then they have others and they keep recruiting. So now we go back to, what if something has been done in the past and it didn't work? Can we suggest what we think can work in terms of measures to curb the theft and insecurity in the city? But before we answer that, I would like to invite you to join this conversation. I'm sure you know of someone that has been vandalized, someone that has been mugged, someone that has even probably lost their lives to, you know, smugglers, to gangs, to thugs, someone that has been attacked on the way home, whether driving or walking. What do you think we can do to curb the insecurity and theft in Kampala Metropolitan? You can reach us on WhatsApp number 0709 602 592, and on the X app, the hashtag is UBCGMU. Would like for you to join the conversation. Again, we are asking the question, what can be done to curb the insecurity and theft in Kampala Metropolitan and even in other urban centers and even suburbs? The WhatsApp number again is 0709602592. Please share your opinions. We'd love to have them. Chantal, you had something to say in regards to the measures that can be put in place to curb theft.
I wanted to first of all react, as Sonko mentioned, that one of the measures you know, by default is arresting these people. That is not a measure. Today, I think it's that we should declare and agree that arresting them is not a measure. Do you know why?
It is the first. It is the first.
No. Hear me out. If I say it's not a measure, what do I mean? If I arrest you, put you in prison, it's not an enough punishment. Meanwhile, by the time someone thinks about stealing, this person is ready for anything.
That comes.
This is me reminding you. They know what they're going to do, how dangerous it is. If I get caught,
but they run away from,
to be,
once they are going to get arrested, they first run away.
Because they know,
because it's scary being arrested as well.
Thank you. No. Because they don't know what's going to happen when they get caught. I mean, if you're caught by the masses, you're probably going to be burnt to death. You're probably going to be beaten up and stuff like that. They know what it means. But let me ask you, this person is stealing a phone to sell it at about 30,000, 100,000 to put food on the table. You're putting them in prison where there is portion bins where they can eat.
So what is the solution?
This one is going to stay in there for however long until they get out. The solution, in my own opinion, would be when these people are caught, the time they spend in this prison, is it transformational time? Do we have programs put in place by Uganda police, by the prison services, by the government, to ensure that they understand why this person is actually being a thief? How can they be helped? Is there any kind of rehabilitation? If
Prison
it's drugs,
itself
can
is
they?
supposed to be
But it is
rehabilitation.
not. That's what I'm trying to show
That's
you.
why some people come out when they
It
have
is.
sat P7,
It
senior
is, yes.
4, senior 6
From prisons.
from prison, and they
Depending
change their
on how
lives when they
long.
come out. But the question here is, in as much as these programs are in there, are they forced upon them, or they have a right to choose them or not?
You see, also the reality is, if someone is actually naturally lazy, if I'm to use,
Is it
for
laziness?
lack of a better word, you will actually put them in prison for 3 years. Okay, I think it is like what Chantal was mentioning, that at times even arresting may not solve. You will arrest someone for 3 years and they come back and they do the exact thing that actually put them in prison. So at times,
So
you
that's
you
where my
realize that,
question comes in. When you put them in prison,
What
these rehabilitation programs that are in prison, are they forced on them, for lack of a better word, or they have a right to choose them or not?
at times,
The truth is, there is no one who is forced to do if you want to spend your time in prison, as I'm spending my 3 years in jail, I
Doing
get out,
nothing?
yes, that's what you choose to do. That's why I'm saying we
So
need to
they
be
are
more
not
deliberate.
mandatory.
They're not mandatory. We need to be more deliberate. If someone has stolen and they're part of maybe a gang or something, understand why this person is part of a gang.
But you see,
then we provide
when
solutions
they're
to
sent
that.
to prison, they will find their gang members in prison and still be
Exactly.
part of a gang in
Of a
prison.
gang in prison.
And
Exactly. That
actually
means there is a
some
And so the
people
gang
it's even
continue-
worse.
So it is more of a society
That means
thing,
there
by
is
the
a
way,
problem in that prison or in our prisons. That's what I'm saying. We need to be more deliberate. If you have arrested a gang of whichever number of people, let's have programs that are deliberate and engaging. Let's not leave it to these people to choose whether they want to be part of a rehabilitation program or not. No, it's more like how I can find out my child is using drugs. Then I'm like, I'm locking you up in the house. It's not helping. I need to sit down with this child and find out why they are doing drugs,
Yes.
which group they are in, how can I sort this situation. Then by the time I let this child into society again, we've handled this issue from inside. That person who has gone through rehabilitation, deliberate rehabilitation, when they step out, chances of them wanting their fellow gang members to change are high.
No,
But
they're high,
given
but
that
you know,
some, sorry to cut you short, but given that many actually of the people that wreak havoc, or many of the gang members or the thugs that wreak havoc on Ugandans and their property, given that they're a result of a rapid urbanization, like we put it, they come from slum areas, maybe they've not even gone to school, how are we supposed to rehabilitate these people? Because the kind of person you're talking about is a person who comes from a proper family. Some of these do not come from a proper family. So how do we rehabilitate them to be important members of society? Because I believe that's where we have to start.
Takes me back to how we structure the programs, Olive. If we are saying we're going to be deliberate to make sure that we have rehabilitation programs that are in there and are not supposed to be chosen by whoever is in prison, but they are deliberate, that means we have a proper plan put in place. We have a categorization put in place. We know that if someone is from a slum area, we deal with them like this. Have you heard of I mean, like I mentioned, one of the reasons is why people are actually doing these things, it's because of mental health issues. So all the person needs is some bit of counseling. I mean, for some sessions for like a month or 2 or 3. And by the time they get out, they will not even touch anyone's property.
Those are the ones in prison. How about the ones that are within the community that have not been arrested but are very susceptible to joining a gang?
Then that's when we strengthen the security system.
You know, there's something we are not paying attention to here. You've mentioned something that at times you do realize that some of the thieves are either not coming from stable families. I will shock you that you will find out that if you stayed within the localities of what you could call the Kampala suburbs or the ghettos,
the suburbs are where you and I live.
Or let's say the ghetto, let's say the ghettos or slums, you'll be shocked that you're not going to be stolen, or they won't steal anything from you. And I want even the viewers out there to agree with me here that at times theft is not something that is that is coming in from any kind of, let's say, inspiration or something. We've seen responsible people. I don't know if any of you has ever engaged with someone. You bring someone to your premise or your home, very respectable in a way, and something goes missing. You know, at times it's something to do with greed of human beings and the nature of how life is in the country today. Some people are actually forced to start stealing simply because of lack of, you know, let's say, money to live a life. When you look at the cases of people who lose their property in concerts, for example, public gatherings, you realize that there is someone who has paid money to buy a ticket to steal a phone from someone. So it's like someone wants to survive. It is more of a survival mode that we're actually living in today.
Don't you think it is the thugs that infiltrate these concerts?
No, at times it's not the thugs. When you have a thug or a gang, this is where the beating comes in. But someone who steals you smartly, someone who has grown up stealing.
Not all of them will beat you. I mean, someone have stolen my phone before. And
then it loses the emphasis of the thug.
Chantal's phone was snatched from her earlier this year on the road. She was not beaten. So we can't say that thugs will always beat you, though of course they do that, because police say now there is a way they do it. One of them will have you in a chokehold as the other one takes your bag or your property. Anyway, we have some views coming through, and first one is coming from Cricket Derek Gargamel, and he says, good morning family. Theft currently is rampant because of laxity in the security organs. When you go to the city center, phones are grabbed in broad daylight near police posts, and once these thugs are caught, they don't even spend hours in the cells, meaning that they work with police. Secondly, even some security agents themselves engage in theft, because you can't lie to me that a civilian can rob a bank in broad daylight with guns. Lastly, our laws are also weak, because even if one is caught and convicted, it's a maximum of 3 months in jail. That's a weak punishment, because some of those thugs are even used to prison life, so jailing them for months is not a remedy. And remember, most thieves are potential murderers. It's funny, even those caught red-handed with exhibits are innocent until proven guilty. Well, that's the Constitution. That statement is also a big mess. We need to reshuffle the police and enact serious laws to stop theft. Thank you, Derek, for your opinion. This one says, the best measure to curb down crime rates in the young people is to change the government, because it's the government that has failed to create jobs for them. I can assure you there is unemployment in every country. So sometimes changing the government may not be the solution. Do the young people want to work? Let's begin there, because even employers are complaining that Ugandans are lazy, Ugandans don't want to work, Ugandans come late to work, Ugandans are always missing work.
They're paying them less.
You see, you're going to say they're paying you less. If they're paying you less but you decide to stay on the job, then do it and do it well. Anyway, this one says, I agree with my sister and brother on the reasons they have aired out as main causes of theft. However, some women, especially young girls, should stop engaging in early sex, which ends up giving them unplanned children who end up in the streets as thieves due to poor parenting. And also parents should try to look for all ways of providing good parenting skills. Salim, live from Nyendo.
That is the whole process of how thieves are made.
Salim has given
a process of how thieves are made.
It's more like he's telling us how we are raising bastards in society.
He's also saying now what can be done to curb the crime is to try always to engage them in skilling and provide them with some jobs from the skills they have obtained, and our government can do that. Though some of the youth are thieves and are lazy. I will end with this comment. Thank you so much for your views. I won't be able to share all of them, but this one says the challenge in Uganda today is all about, do you have money? And also with police, when you report something, you are considered first suspect. The local community needs to be given confidence in the police such that they can walk to police and report the crime. Otherwise, people have lost trust in police. You didn't leave your name. You're called Otoke Julius. Thank you so much for your views. And of course, as a Ugandan, you need to safeguard your property, ensure that you move in places that are well lit. Try to avoid moving at night, especially when you're alone. Have security lights outside your homes. You may be wanting to save on power, but then end up losing more. So you can have that security light. Take care of your stuff when you're moving in the city. Safeguard your property, especially us ladies. Hold your bag like your life depends on it. This is still Good Morning Uganda. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have the press review and traffic updates, and later on agenda and sports updates.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash. Use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
I'm called Ezekiel Vanjikate. We are staying in Bisala village, that is in Luka district. This is a commercial agriculture farm purely run on a family basis. We are now concentrating on coffee, and we got that coffee in 2018 from Operation Wealth Creation. NADS gave us the solar water pump, which we are currently using to put up irrigation on the farm and be able to irrigate the coffee, which is sitting on a 30-acre area. What we're able to reap out of the coffee, we're able to sell it off and make an expansion, because with irrigation you can't go wrong, but be able to pick all around the whole year. And that's all income that will be coming in. On a special thanks goes to Operation Wealth Creation, to the district local government in Luka district that has also given us the support to supervise all the work that we have been doing. And finally, NADS that gave us the solar water pump.
Uncle, you should see London.
Oh, my boy. This has been 5 years. You should see Uganda.
Yes. Uncle Marcus, this is my former school.
Soon there will be more than 1 million children learning like this for free.
Thank you, Uganda, for imagining it with us and making us the fastest growing telecom in the country over the past 5 years.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Hello again, good morning. This is the GMU Business Update of your morning, as we definitely get to give you what is making rounds from the world of business so that you can definitely keep up to speed. Now, the Minister of Energy, that is Ruth Nankabira, has actually come out to say that fuel prices are stable but just competitive in relation to what is happening in the region, because when you look at the last 1 month, fuel prices have actually increased. Not only the last 1 month, by the way, for the past few months, fuel prices have been increasing in the country here, which has actually forced many Ugandans to question again how far will they go in relation to increasing. It is actually coming in a tough time when the economy is not that performing as expected. But well, for those who have the money, like I normally say, have the money. And for those who are also struggling as well. So there is that economic imbalance in the country. But according to the minister, the price of petroleum products in Uganda have remained stable over the last month. And well, for those who have actually been able to realize this situation, or for those who actually go and buy fuel, or the car owners, you can ideally see that the pump price of petrol is between 5,400 to 5,500 Ugandan shillings per litre, depending on the fuel station that you're actually using. There are some fuel stations that are quite having higher prices compared to the rest. Then the minister also revealed, while delivering a statement to Parliament, to MPs concerning the rising fuel prices, she also noted that Uganda operates a downstream liberal market where prices are highly determined by demand and supply. And of course, with the kind of free market that we do have here, at times you realize that if we do have a huge number of goods on the market, at times the prices are not as high as when we have very few. So it's the demand and supply that says a lot about these price fluctuations in one way or the other. So the minister disclosed that the Uganda National Oil Company will soon be the main supplier of fuel for all marketing companies in the country. So in one way or the other, it would be a kickstarter to stabilize some of these particular fuel prices. And also the situation that comes out of the fact that in Kenya the fuel prices are higher compared to what we're actually experiencing here in the country. But of course, for the car dealers or the car owners out there are still crying foul because of the fact that these fuel prices seem unfavorable for the Ugandans. Now, let's talk Ponzi schemes. The capital chicken victims have petitioned Parliament on the same matter. It is alleged that the faces behind the capital chicken defrauded unsuspecting Ugandans on the pretext that they would recoup 15% of their investment on a monthly basis. Of course, these were stories running all over social media, which as well saw social media marketers and influencers pushing for the capital chicken brand. Sadly though, the Ugandans who invested millions of their savings into this particular scheme are not getting what they expected after that particular revelation of the capital chicken saga that left many Ugandans shocked and in tears because their money was definitely not reaping as much as they were expecting. Now, the Right Honourable Deputy Speaker to Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, appealed to government to stop Mponzi schemes from operating in the country. He was also making these remarks during yesterday's plenary in Parliament. This followed that petition, like I did mention, containing details of citizens who were duped in a non-existent poultry rearing scheme known as the capital chicken, whereby you could invest into the scheme and see yourself growing, you see your money growing. And then they were actually also promised a 15% profit per on a monthly basis rather of their investments. So that is something that interests anyone out there. If you're a business person and you have a 15% bonus that you'll definitely be taking off your investment that you made, then well, it will be a quick one. So when you look at some of the most famous schemes as well that have left many Ugandans crying, includes the BLQ football scheme, where police arrested Ying Chen, a 43-year-old Chinese investor, and 4 other individuals that were Ugandans for indulging in this particular football betting scheme known as BLQ. some Ugandans had also invested in that particular scheme. Those are some of those that you can look at and say, well, Ugandans have really seen days in relation to Ponzi schemes that have left them moneyless, I should say. Now, lastly, from our business perspective this morning, the forex market by close of business yesterday, Wednesday, as you're getting out in there this Thursday morning, this is how the US dollar was trading yesterday. By opening time, it was buying at 3,748.45 while selling at 3,758.46. Midday, some changes, 3,749.58 while selling at 3,759.58. Then closing time, saw the US dollar buying at 3,749.75 while selling at 3,759.75. The Great Britain pound, on the other hand, was buying at 4,602.06 while selling at 4,614.34, and then the euro was buying at 4,006.23 while selling at 4,016.91. The Kenyan shilling, on the other hand, was buying at 24.96 while selling at 25.03. The Tanzanian shillings was buying at 1.49 shillings while selling at 1.50 shillings. The South African rand was buying at 198.65 while selling at 198.18 Ugandan shillings in that regard. And our focus turns to the press review this morning, but first a revisit of our local dailies in Uganda before we look at what is making headlines across the East African region. Now, from the Ugandan perspective, we start off with the New Vision highlighting some of the situations coming in from the country. But first, it is the Magara mother giving details of kidnappers. The family was asked to pay 3.56 billion ransom to have daughter released. But hey, the daughter was murdered in cold blood. First Lady commissioning new facilities at the Salama School for the Blind is another report with the New Vision today. Night robbers displaced over 600 families. That is according to a new report. Read about that in the New Vision. Now, also in the investigative series, how 3 religions have shed blood for Jerusalem. Read about the same. Government not Buganda's enemy, says Todwong. Read about it. And there is also a special report and a pictorial showing business as usual at the Queen Elizabeth National Park in Kasese. Rather, the Queen Elizabeth National Park and other game reserves in Kasese as well. And now let's also look at the Daily Monitor. Marks for sale at universities. An interesting report in relation to investigation. A new vice has been exposed with some students at Chambogan Makere University, this time claiming they bribed their way to better grades and that degree. Well, tough times for Uganda's education. Also, school head and teachers held over UNEB exams. Read about the same in the Daily Monitor. And then the US envoy says, we will work with Uganda to fight terrorism. Not only that, ginger to rename road after Henry Chamber. A report about the last funeral rites, or rather the last funeral days of the late Henry Chamber. Then also in the other news, why civilians disarmed and beat up UPDF soldiers in Kayunga land row. Daily Monitor is giving you the details. Now crossing over to Kenya, Jubilee Wars. Uhuru's function has the last laugh at Sabina Chege losses as Sabina Chege loses House Sport. Daily Nation in Kenya with more details. Now Governor Kawira is impeached again. More reports of the same. Now there is also a bigger headline. Revealed Haji's NIS shakeup. Changes, some officers moved and others retired. New changes in Kenya. As also a double loss for women caught up in Mavoko Njiro land cases. Read about the same in the Daily Nation. As the business perspective, city school shuts down due to tough economic times. As internationally, approved police mission to Haiti. MPs in Kenya are now asking. Lastly, from the press review, the citizen in Tanzania. Tanzania turns to research to expand mining. As also national recognition, government plans literal award to encourage writing. Also in national literature, Abdurazak Guma brings paradise home. So you can as well read about government is set to merge 19 state-owned farms into 7. That is in Tanzania. As Dar es Salaam and Lusaka sign natural gas deals. More of that in the Citizen. Well, that is it for the press review and the BMU Business Outlet this morning. It is now time for the traffic outlets.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for the traffic updates this morning. My name is Olive Monica Nejema, here to take you through that part of Good Morning Uganda. Now, if you're coming from the areas of Gayaza and joining that bypass over there at the roundabout, you will notice that there is traffic jam coming through as you leave the roundabout. That is the northern bypass roundabout. And as you can see, coming from Gayaza, right before the roundabout, there is a little bit of a traffic jam that has built up over there. But also after you have crossed through, you will still notice that there is a traffic jam around the roundabout that is still on Gayaza Road around Kalere. So if you're coming from that area, you will notice that around Kalere Market, there is still huge traffic jam that has gathered over there. And as you continue still along Gayaza Road, you will encounter basically from the northern bypass roundabout over there. And as you continue to this roundabout that joins Bombo Road to Gayaza Road, you're going to realize that there is traffic that is not letting up, and there is traffic that is going all the way to Binaisa Road, and of course intense traffic that is going through to Bombo Road. And of course, speaking of Bombo Road, you can see that those feeder roads over there are also feeding traffic into the main Bombo Road. Now going back to Binaisa Road, there is huge traffic over there that also feeds into this roundabout at Kubiri. Now at Kubiri, there is intense traffic that is coming through and joining that roundabout, which takes you to New Mulago Gate. And the traffic there is also very intense. But now looking at Dwaliro Road, there is also traffic jam that has built up there on both sides of the road that is incoming and outgoing. It's all intense traffic. And if you're continuing to the areas of Kafero Zone, you're going to find that Kafero Zone Road has intense traffic over there as well. So if that's the area you're going to, you are advised. Now looking at the areas of Mawanda Road as it leaves Gayaza Road, you're going to find that there is at the intersection of Nsora Road and Mawanda Road, there is some bit of traffic that has built up. But now if we go with Mawanda Road, we are going to still notice that there are orange zones over there, which indicates that traffic is starting to build up. And right at the intersection where Mawanda Road meets Kisingiri Road, you're going to find traffic coming through from Kisingiri Road. And of course, as you continue with Mawanda Road, there are orange zones here. Earlier, this entire area was red, meaning there was intense traffic over there. It looks like it has let up, still not entirely smooth, but better than what it was earlier. So if that's the route you're going to use, you're in luck, because traffic over there has finally let up. But still, let's continue with Mawanda Road and see how it is doing. Now at the intersection where it joins Church Road, there is some bit of traffic, but if you're coming from Church Road, you're going to realize that there is a smooth flow of traffic over there. But where Mawanda Road joins Tufnell Drive, there is some bit of traffic there that has gathered. And if you continue with the Tufnell Drive, you're going to find that it has orange zones on both sides of the road, meaning traffic is building up on both sides of the road, as you can see there. So you might be held up a little bit, but when Tufnell Drive joins Chira Road, you're going to realize that there is smooth flow of traffic over there. So if you're going to Chira Road, you are in luck, because all I see are green zones over there, meaning that you should be able to get to wherever you're going in record time. But not so fast, because as Chira Road joins Upper Mulago Hill Road, then traffic starts to build up over there. But as if you're continuing still with Chira Road, you will find traffic which which takes you to that Tuko roundabout. And of course, if you're going to Binaisa Road, there is intense traffic over there that is coming in from Tuko roundabout. Now, if you're continuing to the areas of Yusuf Lule Road, it looks green this morning, meaning there is smooth flow of traffic over there. But if you're going to the areas of Musa Kasule Road, you will find intense traffic around the roundabout, and then as you continue to join this other intersection here where Makere Hill Road and Bombo Road join, you'll find some bit of traffic there, but nothing much to worry about. And other roads within the area like Lumumba Avenue, like Nakaseo Road, Nakaseo Hill Road look pretty good. So if that's where you're going, all you can see are green zones, so there is no traffic jam over there. There is smooth flow of traffic as evidenced by what you're seeing on your screen. So if that is the area you're heading to, things look pretty good for you this morning. Well, that's it for traffic updates. My name is Olive Monica Najima. Do keep it. Good morning, Uganda.
Of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Mukoke Fish Farmers Association tuli balunzi ba byananda ebyebika ebisatu omuli Mirakap, tilapia oba engege ni catfish twete male. Group eno twatandika twali abantu basatu nga tulingirira obwetaavu obwebyenanda obwivwa eno okubona nti tufuna okasente akava mu maadi agali gatambula butambule nga gatubita ku wanu ng'ekirabo. Twatandika ni fish pond ndala mu mwaka gw'e2018. Twebaza fisheries officer ni district ya Bugiri babanga batulagirira kusani fish farm ebwikwe inside day dinde twabanga tusobola okufuna kwetusako obugege obwasooka era mu mwaka ogwali 2022 awo basobola okubanga batuwayo ebyenanda emitwalo $40 okuva mu operation werese creation era okuba yongereza ku emere yatuweebwa okuva Ugachik Poultry Breeders. Twasobola okubanga tusoloza akasente akawerera obukayire nga 42. Twasobola okubanga tubuinvestinga oba okubona nti twongerezaako ku bimu ku bintu bye tukola gano. Twebaza gavumenti yaife okubanga buli saawa efaayo okubanga efeeri y'Abannayuganda.
The program lineup on UBC. program lineup on UBC.
Amina gange ndetibwa Nakiranda Amina mu company eya WIB Uganda Limited ndi member. Wemba member company eno weyeida twalinga tutuli bulungi ng'abakyala ab'ewakawaka. Ng'abakyala ab'ewakawaka tuwemera ku baami baife nga bonkana abajamu nanda nga twidi nti abakyala tebakozesa ki nanda. UN Women weyeida yatuteekateeka yatwegesa okulunda engege ng'abakyala. Twatandika beno okudulunda n'okudirisa n'okola ki. Twafunamu ng'abakyala aba Bugiri district. Abakyala ba Bugiri district sofa tuli abakyala 14 abakola project eno eya WIB. Abakyala 14 twayawula mu sectors. Mulimu abakyala ba production, abaliisa, mwaba abakyala ba validation, abongera engege omutindo bayongerako omutindo. Twaba n'abakyala ba harvesting, aba harvestinga. Twaba n'abakyala abakola aba marketing. Sector donna diri trained. Era didi kyedikola ki? Kyedikola. Project eno tufunyemu ng'abakyala. Government yaife ne ya Uganda njebaza. Okujja kujanga batulingirira mu ng'abakyala abana Uganda. Eri kujanga eturobingira ebibiina bingi. We have UWEB, baleta parish development model. We have Myoga. Byonna biri kwida muki mu bakyala oba mu bantu abaki aba Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Amaina ndina vile Jennifer okuva mwero si ekigusa ekyaganibwa muterere town council we bwatuuka nga ndi kunika business kange kano nalinako nga amaani matono ino aye nawuliriza nkoze magezi ki ka business kange kano okweyongeramu abaye mulango ogwaida gwa gavumenti nti eriyo emyoga gyamba abantu kusitula buli muntu mbeera y'abataalimu najayo kirungi nali leader nagira mu group y'aba leaders nafunayo obusente naida nayongera mu ka business kange kano nebaza nti kabiri banange we buli awo kyongera nga muli kumbona nkayenda bwende wale nali wansi aye kabiri butindizie kuku waigulu.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you so much for keeping with us here on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyiteno. In case you have just joined, just to remind you that we are always here every weekday from 6:30. So you can't afford to miss a very informative show and yet very interesting as well, with some moments of smiles and laughters here and there. So let us brighten up your morning every weekday. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda, a segment within Good Morning Uganda where we usually have a guest or guests and we discuss issues of national importance. Now this morning we are going to be focusing more on issues regarding the reading culture in this country as we see the East Africa School of Library and Information Science marking 60 years of existence. Now, joining me on set to discuss this, I have Adonia Katungisa, who happens to be the Director, National Library of Uganda. Adonia, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Mr.
And on my extreme end, I have a young lad with me, and that is Mwanje Senono Aloysius, who is an assistant lecturer at the East Africa School of Library and Information Science, Makerere University. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, it is a pleasure having you both. And now to begin with, I'll begin with Mwanje here. Mwanje, when we talk about the East Africa School of Library and Information Science, what is this all about? And what do you do?
Yeah, the East African School of Library and Information Science started way back in 1963, and it started as, it was a combination of the 3 East African countries, that was Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania, joined together and formed the East African School of Librarianship, as it was known by then. So as years went by, that collaboration ended, and now each East African country started training their own people, and that's how, but we maintained the East African School of Librarianship, and they called it the East African School of Library and Information Science. So we started by training certificate programs, and then we migrated to diploma. And then in the year 1989, that's when we started teaching bachelor's programs. And right now, we have a PhD in information science. So we are celebrating that rich history in education, in research and innovation in the field of information science and records and archives management. So we are marking 60 years of Lee's education in Uganda.
Now a quick one. One would ask, in modern day, how relevant is this? Because today the world has gone digital. You know, if I need to read a book, if I need to do anything, I simply have to have my computer, have the connections, maybe get to know the websites. Like, is this still of relevancy in the .com era?
Yes, it is irrelevant. I train people who are going to do what you want to see on digital, because the digital does not establish itself. Yes, we have technology, but you can't rule out the human factor. So you need the human beings, or you need a human factor in technology. You see, even the cameras are here, but there is someone manning them. So I train the person who mans these digital platforms to collect information, catalog information, classify information, whether online or manually processed. Like when you go in the library or you go on Google, because we do focus also on webometrics and so many things. So we need the human hand. So we train the people to do that. Yes.
Now coming to Adoni, we have the National Library of Uganda. Now, more light, what does the National Library of Uganda do? You're the director.
Thank you so much. National Library of Uganda, in brief, NLU, is a government of Uganda body that was established by the National Library Act of 2003 with the mandate to collect, preserve, and disseminate Uganda's documented heritage, and also to oversee the development of libraries in the country. Maybe allow me to also say that this act actually repealed the 1969 Public Libraries Board, whose mandate was either to establish and manage public libraries. And so with the enactment of this new law that brought the National Library in place, this role of establishing and managing was now put under the docket of the respective local governments, and the National Library of Uganda was now left with that I could call it supervisory advisory role to these libraries. Probably the way those libraries are compared to how they used to be. Because right now, we just provide that supportive guidance and capacity building role. And the Act provides for actually 21 functions. And among these, like you said, one is to see that the reading culture of Ugandans is improved, and then to see that establishment of libraries for the general public. Because, you know, we have different types of libraries. I know we have all gone to school, we have academic, we have school libraries. Now, when you look at the accessibility of these libraries, it is restricted to the bona fide of that particular institution. Now, when we talk of the public libraries, National Library, now we are looking at these libraries where everybody is free to access, whether you know how to read, whether you are old, whether you are young, or whether you're in school, whether you're out of school. So that's the mandate, and that's the reason why the National Library was established.
Okay, now talking about the National Library, I don't know if you may know, how many public libraries do we have?
Currently, we have 48 public libraries.
Oh, sure.
And by 2003, when the National Library of Uganda was established, there were actually 16. But in terms of the libraries for the general public, we also work side by side with what we call the community libraries, and these are more than 100.
Now, what are community libraries?
Now, the distinction between the two is that when you talk of a pure public library, it's that one that is funded from consolidated funds, that is funded by the state. Whereas for the community libraries, though they serve the same purpose, where everybody is allowed to access, these ones are established and managed by either an individual or an organization or an institution that establishes them. The very reason why, because you know in government, there is a lot of bureaucracy, possibly the reason why the number of libraries have remained fewer compared to those that are established by individuals, by institutions that are non-government.
Well, at least I've ever gone to one public library that was at Uganda Road during A level, and you would go read and then move away. But one of the interesting things was that if there's any place where you can find it very easy to get where to sit, was in this public library. And that brings me to the reading culture in this country, because it is the only place you go and you not find congestion, because you find that very few people have come to read. Now, how do we promote this reading culture? Apart from saying we are churning out many who have read, who have studied, but Ugandans appreciating. They are good at reading newspapers, some are good, others check on the pictures, and for them they have known the entire story, though we say a picture tells the story. So how do we, or what success in this period can you say that we've been able to promote, if there are even any statistics that can indicate that Uganda's reading culture has moved from this to that level? Aloysius.
What I can say is the reading culture, that's a very big question in Africa. Because even one man said that in case you want to hide anything from an African, just put it in writing. But that has to start from the nurture, the way we are nurtured, right from kindergarten. When you look at the international schools, their kids are nurtured to read. But when you check on purely public and the Ugandan setting, the schools in a Ugandan setting, when you check in our UPE schools, some schools don't even have libraries. So that one only will deter, will hinder the culture of reading. If we had a library established in each of the schools, whether public or private, that could at least help to ignite the reading culture in students. If at university level, we cannot force you at university level to read, because we have already got somebody who is crippled for over 13 years, who doesn't know, who doesn't want to read. But if we had this reading right from kindergarten, comes along with in primary, in secondary, it would be very easy, even at university, and even someone to read at leisure. So this culture is built in our education system. If we had this embedded in our education system right away from the start, when the kid is growing, that could help to ignite the culture of reading and the innovation probably in our country. But if we don't have that, we shall always talk about it, but nothing will always be done. We need to establish libraries, and not only establishing them, but also giving them the mandate to do their work. Establish them, finance them, support them, to support our communities, to support our kids, to enable our kids to learn and read. That's the only way we can have this reading culture changed. Otherwise, we shall always be talking about it.
Now, Adonia, you said one of the mandate of the National Library of Uganda is to promote the reading culture. How are you promoting this?
Thank you for that question. Maybe before I answer that question, allow me to say that effective library and information service delivery mainly depends on, I can say, 5 factors. Number 1 are the physical structures. These libraries we are talking about. Even when you are talking of the digital era now, do you have the technology that is going to help you be able to do that? Number 2, financial resources. Because in order for you to have these physical structures, you must have the money. Number 3, the human capital, human resources that the East African School of Library and Information Science is trying to bring about. And then number 4, I should say, maybe the customers, the readers, whose reading culture we are talking about. And then number 5, the resources themselves, the informational resources, the materials, in whatever format, be it print, be it digital, be it digital. Now, when it comes to the reading culture, in order for us to be able to improve the reading culture of Ugandans, then we must see that all these resources are in place, are in good condition. Now, when it comes to now the reading culture, like you were saying, the best we try to do would be to see that these resources are in place, and then also to see that the materials that we have, are they relevant to our Ugandans? Because if we are to nurture, then it would be good to at least nurture when from the beginning. Just like they say, if you are to bend, a stick bends when it is still young. Now, the problem that we have had, yes, and of course that means, do they have what to read? Is it relevant for them? Now, when you look at our Uganda context, particularly I'm looking at the Uganda experience. Yes, we are supporting, we are establishing, supporting the establishment of these public libraries. We support them with information materials. But one of the challenges that we have had, much as we try our level best to produce these resources, is that we have, for many years, depended on donated books. No local content, if I could say. Local content, materials in the local languages. Because if you have to start with a nursery kid, of course you know that English is a foreign language. So mother tongue would be more appropriate. So we try to provide these materials, but we also feel that if we need to have these materials. And of course, in addition to that, of course, the legal and the policy framework also is another issue.
How?
Because why are we not having many local content books? It's not because we don't have writers, it's because they are not motivated. Because you know, these writers, these authors write for different purposes. Others motivational, others for economic gains. But because of the poor legal framework, where the copyright comes in, you produce your book and you want to sell it, you find you have printed 100 copies, you are selling only 2. other people are there pirating and xeroxing. Okay, simply because there is no favorable framework. So what we are currently doing is that much as we have a copyright law, Uganda is trying to come up with a copyright
You produce
policy.
a book?
We are coming up with a policy that is going to guide to see that at least these authors benefit, to see if you are to photocopy, you don't just photocopy for the sake, much as they say for educational purposes, but you know you can photocopy one page before you read, you have the whole book. And once you have it, then you'll not read. And if my book is not read, if it is not bought, then it means I will not be motivated to produce more. Yeah. So those are some of the efforts that we are trying to do to see that Uganda's reading culture is improved. And of course to have a reading culture promoting activities like reading tents. We always have reading tents within the communities where we gather these children and then try to take them through reading and interest them to read, so that as they grow up, when they know that really reading is important. Just like they say, in my language they say, ntakana katatambula, katumami ya fumbo burunji. I think in Uganda they say, akana manya akatage something of the sort. So if you don't read, then you not know what is happening outside there. All the good things that have been written, if for example you talk about like biographies, where someone is trying to bring out what he has gone through, you are seeing
the
him.
books I love
very
most
rich.
reading.
He's very rich. He has been successful. So if you read and get to know where things went wrong, where things went right, I think you'll be able. So that's why we need to see that the reading culture is improved.
Well, talk about the reading culture, and one important thing that you just said is the content we have in these public libraries. You go there and you find it, most are foreign books. They may not even be that very, very interesting to catch the eye. I remember when we were in school in our days, novels were something that even someone would hold despite reading it. Because it was a bit classy for you to have a novel. It doesn't look far away from me. Those days where you have novels, where you buy these novels, people who are not even in the literature class would buy these novels, but was something like pride. He's reading a novel, he has a novel, but yet actually reading wasn't happening. I know many people who buy newspapers, have them in their vehicles, you know, dashboard to show, I buy newspapers, I'm informed. But he can't even tell you what was on story number 2. Yet they are able to read and analyze issues. You go to a conference, people pick all sorts of material. I don't know if you've come across this. Almost everything that has been put there, they even scramble to get them. But you later find, after someone has dumped it somewhere, it is in someone's home, he didn't even bother to read the content. We have a challenge with our reading culture. Now let's look at the celebrations. 60 years where we'll see the East Africa School of Library and Information Science celebrating. So what is lined up?
Okay, what we are doing right now, first we are mobilizing the public to join us in the celebrations. We are having these celebrations on 8th through 10th. So from 8th to 10th, that's when we shall be celebrating, officially celebrating. The celebrations began already, but officially we shall hold primary, secondary and tertiary institutions debate on 8th. Then on 9th we shall have the Liz, we call it the Liz Ram Symposium, Library and Information Science, Records and Archives Management Symposium. And basically in the debate, we are, as we have been talking about the culture of reading, we want to see how should the libraries help education, how should we help the primary, the secondary and tertiary institutions in reading and promoting of culture. So that will be a debate that will be on 8th by the primary, secondary and tertiary institutions. The students will be engaging in that debate. Then on 9th we shall have presentations, papers, research that will be published research and works, and then we shall also have testimonies of people who have gone through ISLIS, testifying what they have done, what the school has done, and how they have benefited from the school. We shall have that on 9th. Then on 10th, we shall have the Liz Ram luncheon. You are all welcome. We invite everyone, the public. We shall be paying a small fee just to cater for some resources and our lunch, and also to cater for our students who are going to come. Each one will be paying 120,000 only. But you can pay more. You can support the school, especially people who have gone through, the alumni who have gone through the school. You can support us financially, materially, and in any way possible. We invite everyone to join us. Yes.
Well, very packed program indeed there.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to Adon here, where do you come into this picture?
Okay, I come into this picture of celebrating ISIS at 60. Number one, because I'm an alumni.
Okay.
Because I'm a product of the school, both at undergraduate and postgraduate. Number two, I also come in because through the training of these information professionals, we have been taking part. Because, you know, our curriculum keep changing. And now, every program, we have what we call internship industrial training for these students to have hands-on. And libraries is one of the institutions where these students from ISIS always go. So as the National Library of Uganda, we always provide these students an opportunity to come and work with us when they are still at school. Number three, also continuous professional development, because we are in the employment sector, in the market sector. You find that when these products of ISIS come, in one way or the other, you find that what is happening on ground is somehow different from the theory. So we also always try to work and try to take them for those short-term courses so that at least they build their skills. And then, of course, number four, like I said, that we always try to see that the reading culture of Uganda is improved. And like Mr. Mwanje has said, within their program, they are having debates for primary and school kids. So during that celebration, National Library of Uganda is happy that we shall support with books for those participating pupils, students, and at the same time also for the schools where these kids come from. And we will do this one here to ensure that at least these schools now have the reading materials to read. Yes.
That is something very, very important. Now, when I look at time, I know you're so much into these preparations. You talked about people who are willing to stand with you.
Yes.
To ensure that you have a successful, successful celebrations. But before I let you go, what are your final remarks to Ugandans, most regarding the school, but also the promotion of the reading culture?
Yeah. First, like Mr. Katungisa said, I want to applaud government for the endeavors the government is doing in promotion of reading culture. I know it is not an easy task, but government is trying, though we are not yet there. But I know we shall be there. I want to thank the Minister of Education, the National Library of Uganda, and all partners in the education sector that is trying as much as possible to see that the reading culture of Ugandans and the literacy level of Ugandans is changing. We increase on the literacy levels of our people. But also I want to say that we need more. We need more partners in this, the private sector, the government, and everyone. We should partner together. Mr. Katungisa said this reading culture and the changing of increasing the literacy level is a 5-pillar program which everyone should engage in: the infrastructure, the resources, the human resource. So please come on board, everyone. I call upon the government, especially our line ministry, the Minister of Education, the Minister of ICT, the Minister of Gender, all those ministries that are pertaining the welfare the human welfare and intellectual welfare of an individual and our children. Please come on board. And I want to call all Ugandans, those who love reading and those who love education, please come and join the school. Join us as we celebrate, and come and talk to us where you want us to change, how you want us to change, how you want a student to be, especially those people those colleagues of ours and those organizations, the ministries, government ministries, agencies, NGOs that take on our students during internship. You can come and speak to us. Tell us where we need to improve. So this is an opportunity, this celebration is an opportunity for you to come and join us and also inform us what we need to change, and especially where exactly you want to change for the socio-economic development of our country. All of us join together, we can see this happening. Please come and join us, just 120K, and everything will be fine. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Aloysius. Now, Adonia, as we get out of the studios, what is your final message?
My final message is, first of all, I would also want to thank my government, the government of Uganda, at least for being there to support the establishment of public libraries, much as we have challenges here and there, and also to thank Ugandans, in particular those that have taken the mantle of seeing that we have these physical infrastructures in form of community libraries for the general public to access. However, I must also say that much as we have these physical infrastructures, they are not in that good state, well facilitated. For instance, many of these public libraries, the 48 I've told you, much as they are there, you'll find that when it comes to human resource, many of these do not employ, for example, the professionals. They are there, but when you reach there, you find they are being manned by non-least trained personnel. One of the reasons is, of course, because of the funds, the finances, because of the funds. The local governments, when you reach there, as we try to advocate, they tell you they are also constrained in terms of finances. And then of late, like when I was giving the mandate and the function of the library, that is as per now. And I don't know what is going to happen when it comes 1st July. Why? Because we have all heard about the RAPEX, the rationalization exercise by government, where we are abolishing, we are merging certain institutions. So the National Library of Uganda happens to be one of those institutions that are being mainstreamed. We are not being merged because currently we are operating under Ministry of Gender, under the Department of Community Development and Literacy, but going by the recommendation of Cabinet, we shall be mainstreamed. Our functions are going to be mainstreamed under Ministry of Education, not as a semi-autonomous, but as a division. And our worry now is that we hope that the funding that we have been having, the linkages that we have been having with the development partners would remain when we are there, because the structure has been drastically, according to the recommendations, reduced, and therefore we feel our working with the communities may be affected in a way. Yeah, and it has already started, because at the moment we are, the budget, national budget was not, and then the roadmap was extended, so we are already seeing this energy. So my prayer is that once the finalization, the rationalization is completed, possibly the status quo remains, so that at least we are able to continue providing these better services to our Ugandans.
Well, we pray and hope that in the bid for government to reduce on expenditure, to reduce on duplication of work and others that were given as key reasons, we do not again lose vital roles and functions that are being done by a number of agencies that are going to be affected in this. Now, I know Ruben is very prepared to take you through sports updates, and I'll leave room for him to do that. See you in the next hour.